in terms of the development options that are available, we think that organizations could get better return if uh, they thought about development more from a spectrum perspective. When is the best practice for a particular need? And what you have in front of you are 5 different options. I'll start with consulting. Consulting is more for systemic level improvements where you're working with an expert to either improve a program or a process. Training or learning are for large groups of employees. The goal here is to improve capabilities, to improve knowledge and skills in a particular area with the use of instructions and practice. Those are keywords here, instructions and practice. Mentoring is for very specific, it's geared towards development support in a specific area where a person of either more experience or low experience mentors another individual, and the guidance is more related to career development in general, although it could be job related. I want to talk about coaching and counseling because there's an important distinction between the two. I'll start with coaching. Coaching refers to customized support and feedback to enhance the ability to achieve short-term and long-term organizational goals. And by the way, these definitions come from the dictionary of the American Psychological Association. And so we have modified it a bit, simplified it a bit, but these definitions come from a source where experts widely agree to these distinctions. So coaching is more for customized support as opposed to training, which is for building skills in large groups of employees. Counseling, in contrast, is for providing more personalized and deep assistance, deep psychological assistance in general. So there's an important distinction between when coaching and counseling is the right solution. We want to provide another framework to think about when is coaching the best option. So some of you may be familiar with Anderson's model of skill acquisition. Anderson from Carnegie Mellon University has done extensive research on what's the best way to acquire a skill. And this work actually began during World War II. Many of you may be familiar with Robert Guyanese work, where trial and error learning is usually not the best solution. It takes much longer, but when you follow a systematic approach, learning tends to be much faster, and that's what this framework shows. So really quickly, what this framework entails is, if you start out by learning the rules and principles about the skill or capacity that you're learning to build, you get a strong foundation, and that's included under factual knowledge. Conceptual knowledge is seeing how all of those rules and principles work together. Procedural knowledge is putting it into practice where you're building your neurological networks, which retain the information for longer term use. And metacognition is the final stage where you're learning to make the right decisions, you're growing judgment capacity. When we look at where does coaching fit in here, the best place to use coaching in our view is for building metacognition. When one is using coaching to build factual knowledge, it's really not the best use of resources because coaching is most often expensive. It is a good personalized solution. So if you have limited dollars, it is better to use training for those who are in the early stages of learning a skill or a knowledge area.